Hello, Divine Reset Women. This is Linan. I'm the founder of Divine Reset, and this is our installment of Inspiration series where I bring a guest who is an expert, has extended knowledge of an area that I believe will help you, because the purpose for Divine Reset is to help women to feel empowered. No matter if the house is burning down, you will have peace, because we have a lot being thrown at us. I am personally going through something that is more difficult than anything I've ever done. And so it is a relief every time I get to talk to guests, because they help instill the peace. They help me to realize some areas in my life that I need to change, whether it's how I'm thinking, how I can respond, how I can improve my heart in better enabling myself to be more receptive to the good things that can bring the calm and the peace and the love. And so our expert today is an author and a charming, charming woman. I met her through the Wellness Universe, the soul treat that they had in November in Sedona. And she is a delight. She's a mother, she's a grandmother, and she has studied emotions and the impact that it has on your life and how you can master them rather than let them control you in a negative way. And so I'd like to introduce you to Ilene Dillon.
Thank
Hi,
you, Linan.
Ilene.
Hi, thank you very much. Yeah, let me just tell people, let me just tell you a little bit more about how I came to deal with emotions. And as you know, I've just released my book called Emotions in Motion,
Woohoo!
the subtitle of which is Mastering Life's Built-in Navigation System, which is a way that most people don't talk about it. But talking about empowerment and internal peace. I had a very difficult childhood, and a lot of anger built up inside of me. I was married at age 19, and by 28, I had my first child, and it was a child my husband and I agreed to conceive together. And when she was 10 months old, he came home one day and said he decided he wasn't ready to be a father, and he left us. Well, what that did for me is open up all the anger that had built up in me over the years, and it began to spill out of me and run over onto my little child. And I was horrified, and I needed help to, I didn't know why I was so angry. This was back in the 70s. I didn't know why I was angry. I didn't know why anybody got angry. I didn't know if there was something you could do about it. I didn't know why you would get taken over by angry reactions. I didn't know any of that. So I went to the University of California in Berkeley. I went to their School of Social Welfare library. That's where I had graduated with my master's degree, to see what I could find out about anger. And I found absolutely nothing. Therapists, even now, are not taught what causes angry reactions, what you can really do about it. They're not standalone courses on anger, or there haven't been. I don't know, maybe in the last few years, a couple have been added. But so I've had to set out on a quest because I needed to stop this. And I was blending psychology. By then I had a license as a clinical social worker in California. So I was blending psychology, work with my clients, work with myself, and I learned a lot of spiritual principles as well. So I blended all those together. And my wonderful clients were willing to experiment with some of the things that I found out. I tried them out on myself first, and then I would say, would you like to try this? And what evolved was an understanding of what emotions are all about. Because if you ask somebody, why do we have emotions? Most people can't tell you. My understanding is emotions are a gift. They've been given to us to help us navigate our lives. And the way it goes together for me is I see that our earth is a big giant school. We've all come here in order to learn and to evolve and to practice our deep spiritual nature in the earth environment. It's like, and the earth environment is really special because it's beautiful. It's a fun school to go to. And you also get immediate feedback because it's a concrete environment. Excuse me. And so emotions come along with the experiences that we have. We learn by having experiences that have an opportunity for us to learn something. And along with each experience comes emotions. And the emotions are there to help us figure out what direction we want to go in, right? Because each emotion has a message. Now, today, a lot of people are saying, well, let's just tap the emotions away, let's meditate them away, and so forth. I don't advocate doing that because I think emotions are trying to help us learn, and I want to use them first and then let them go. I have absolutely no problem in letting them go. Emotions in motion indicates that they're energy and they have to keep moving. So we need to
May I
keep
ask
them
a
moving.
question?
Sure.
So when you say use them, would that also, do you also mean acknowledge them?
Of course. First, you acknowledge that they're there, which I call facing fact. You look at them squarely for what they are. And then each emotion has a particular message. And in my book, Emotions in Motion, I talk about 12 emotions and what their message is. Love, for example, the message of love is come closer and you feel loving. What do you think the emotion of loneliness is telling us? It's not, oh, I'm alone and there's something wrong with this. It's, I have more energy going out than I have coming in, and I need to take care of myself, all right? So every emotion has a message, and I have to identify the emotion first, and then when I know the message, I can use it to help me learn the lesson. Okay, so that's the basics of this system that I've developed. And so here's our motivation. What motivates us to do the learning is that if a lesson is brought up to me and I'm busy or it's too scary or whatever, and I say, not now, it doesn't go away. It may seem like it goes away, but to me, it just circles around and comes back again. And it comes back again and again. And every time it comes back, it gives me a harsher lesson, right? So it's sort of the way I look at it, the universe doesn't leave us alone. Once we have a lesson that we're supposed to learn, it doesn't stop. The good news is the second we learn the lesson, we're finished. That's the good news. And when you know that, it encourages you when something comes up. It may be painful, like you were saying, it may be overwhelming, it may be really difficult, but the first thing you do is embrace it. Okay, I've got something to learn here. I'm a dedicated learner. I know it's not going to go away. When people would come to me as a therapist and I would tell them, well, this is, we would find the lesson and I'd say, well, you know, what do you want to do about it? And they'd have a plan. They'd go away and then come back the next week and they'd say, oh, I didn't follow the plan. And I would say to them, that's okay. The universe will not leave you alone. You can take as long as you want to learn this lesson. Just be advised that the longer you take, the more painful it's going to be. But you can take as long as you want, right? Well, that's very motivating.
Wow. When you say that, I think of going back to anger, that emotion.
Yes.
And if you haven't learned your lesson, that makes so much sense because you can get more angry and more angry, and your outbursts are bigger and affect more people, and things are broken, and it just expands.
It
And
gets worse. Well, what we do with anger. Now, anger is what motivated me because I was very angry. Now call myself a recovered angry person after all this work, right? But anger, any emotion that we hold inside grows. And anger is the most active emotion that we have. And what do we do with anger when we feel angry? Many people say, oh, I can't feel angry. Let me set that aside over here. Let me, maybe I could do this. Or we try to ignore it. We try to press it down.
right,
And so what does it do? It grows. And just like water behind a dam, it's constantly looking for a way to get out, right? So we have these experiences where we go, oh, I got angry. I don't want to get angry anymore. So I'll just tuck it away over here. Well, what are we doing? We're setting it up so that it grows and it's looking for a way out. So inevitably, we blow up again, right? And then we say, oh, I'm not going to do it. And it's the very thing that we're doing is what's making the anger go on longer. If instead we say, okay, I'm angry, what is it that's creating this anger in me? I came up with the universal cause of anger. We all have these things, I call them shoulds, because they go into us in those first 7 years when we're learning about emotions. You should wait in line. You should not take the last cookie, all the things that we learn in kindergarten. But we have these shoulds in our brains that are at kindergarten level. So they're shoulds. You're my mom, you come home from work, you should give me a hug. If you don't, I'll get angry with you. You're my mom and you come home from work and you give me a hug and I think you should not give me a hug, I'll get angry with you. So it's our shoulds and our should nots, which inevitably are showing us our own rigidity, our own rigid ideas of how the world is supposed to be. That's what anger is doing for us. And it's also pointing out where we need to take action. The famous line from Network, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That's a perfect statement of one of the things that anger is designed to bring to us, is the motivation for action.
may I ask another question about emotions that you're not I guess you're not doing a healthy process through it?
Uh-huh.
Would you also say that if you're not addressing it the way that is a healthy way, then your feelings about, whatever it is, we can just keep talking about anger. Would you say that the outbursts become more frequent, not just bigger?
Well, they can. I mean, whatever our internal self or a greater force than us needs to get us to wake up and make changes. And so it could be more powerful outbursts. It could be more frequent outbursts. It really doesn't matter. The idea is something's trying to get our attention and saying, you
Right.
need to make a shift here, right?
Right.
And the interesting thing is the second you make the shift, let me give you a quick story. When my daughter was 10 years old, I was a single parent, and she started bringing me the hairbrush in the kitchen in the morning to fix her hair. And I got angry with her. I said, you should not bring your hairbrush in the kitchen for me to fix your hair. This is not good. About 2 weeks of that, she kept bringing it every morning. Every morning I get upset with her. About 2 weeks after, I realized while I was being angry with her, I was fixing her hair in the kitchen, right? So clearly you should not have hair in the kitchen. There was something strange about it. And what I decided was that it wasn't my should. It had to be somebody else's voice. So I started looking for what it was. Well, when I was 5, I lived on the farm with my grandparents. And in the morning, my grandfather and I would get up and we'd go milk the cow together. and I would lean against the cow because she was warm. And on the way back to the house where my grandmother was making breakfast, we'd stop and pet the kitties and the mother cat that lived in the smokehouse. And when I hit the back door, my grandmother would say, Eileen, you dust yourself off and wash your hands and face because I don't want a hair in my kitchen. Right?
Okay.
So there's a simple example of how it comes up. And I'm angry with my daughter, but really it's so I can see that I'm carrying that should. So I told my daughter, okay, now I get it. Now you have to bring the hairbrush to me in the kitchen every day. Otherwise, I'm going to get angry. How many more
Wow.
days do you think she brought the hairbrush to me?
Probably none.
None. Right. Because I had learned my lesson. Now, why she was helping me with that lesson is a whole nother thing. I taught parenting consciously for many years. It's a whole nother thing. But the fact is that my daughter was helping me to uncover shoulds that I had inside of me that didn't even
Wow.
belong to me.
I think that's actually what I'm learning right now.
Oh, interesting.
Not hairbrushes, but definitely something I need to learn.
Right, right. Well, I know we need to wrap up here. So may I tell people how they could get a hold of me, right?
Yes, most
All right.
definitely. And then also, I we would love to continue this because you need to tell us how we can look for the other person's should, or what was carrying us and for the shoulds. Will you continue that for us?
Right now or at another time?
No, not right now, but another
Oh, of course. Yeah,
another session.
I love talking about this stuff. So sure, no problem. Um, yeah.
Yes.
It,
How can people get a hold of you?
okay. My website is emotionalmasteryforlife.com. And my email is Ilene, which is spelled Ilene. Ilene at emotionalmasteryforlife.com is the best way. I live full time and travel in my RV. So sometimes I'll be coming to an area that you live in, and I do workshops and speeches. And also, I write. Last year, I wrote my book. So, and I'm writing a new one
Fabulous.
on manipulation now. I have about 8 or 9 in my head that I want to write. So,
Oh, that's wonderful. That's perfect. And so just to clarify on the website, emotional mastery, and that's FOR
yes, yes, all
life.com.
spelled
Okay.
out. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I think we definitely need to continue. So thank you so much for your time,
It would be
Eileen.
my pleasure. It is my pleasure. Thank you.
Fabulous. And some of the things that I wrote a lot of notes, and I think another thing that is a it's kind of a puzzling thought because I don't think a lot of people have thought how significant it is to know, where did my emotions come from? Where does this feeling I have come from? Because you're right, people, they want to push it away or shove it down because society is telling us that in order for us to be happy, that everything needs to be blissful. You have to feel happy and you have to be happy. And so if you don't have a happy emotion, then there's something wrong and no one wants to be
Can I just
feeling.
let me respond to that for a minute? Because when you actually work with emotions and use them the way they're intended, you actually get happier.
Wow, that is so powerful. That is so great. And we are all about empowering women to feel peace, feel happy. Um, and emotions are just a part of our lives. It is, and you're
From
saying it's a gift.
Yes, and they're part of our lives from the moment we're born. They're with us 24/7, 365 days of the year for our entire lives. And we need to know more about them because they're our total companion. And we know squat about them at this point.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we definitely need to continue. So I'm going to sign out now because we are out of time. And people, you can get a hold of Ilene. Her email, again, is Ilene at Emotional Mastery for Life, FORLIFE.com. And then her website as well, emotionalmasteryforlife.com. And thank you. We will see you next week for our continuation with Ilene Dillon.